Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Becoming CEO AF podcast. I'm your host, Kimba Garcia.
And I am your co-host, Amanda Bell.
And today we have a very special guest with us that we are super excited to dive into: relationships, inside sales teams, and other things, entrepreneur, Mr. Glen Sandifer. Thank you so much for being here today with us, Glen.
Thank you. Thank you both for the invitation, and thank you to your audience for the time.
Absolutely. I think it's very important that I mention straight out of the gate, too, that you're also a published author. So
I am? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to say that. I'm like, very important on the intro. Very cool when somebody's able to take their thoughts and their inspirations and put it into a book that's out for everybody for eternity. I really can respect the work that goes into publishing. And
a book, you guys, might I add, and a book that is not, we don't get a lot of meat or value in our marketplaces today around the topic that he's covering. I would love for you, Glen, to share more with the audience about what your book is about, maybe even dive into how you help other business owners and entrepreneurs, CEOs, with the relationships.
Yeah, no problem. So I think the title of the book is The Middle Ground: How to Get Great Dating Outcomes in a Modern World. So with the title alone, it is identifying what we already know to be true. Dating in a modern world is very difficult. Why did I create the book? People ask. I started the book from a journey standpoint after I went through a very difficult divorce in the early 2010s. From there, after I left that relationship, I decided to do something that was counterintuitive to most. I decided to say, what did I do wrong? What was my part in that failure of that relationship? So I spent 2 years in therapy with one therapist, and we had the end goal for us to come out with me understanding what was my contribution, why was that my contribution, and what could I have done better. So it was a great experience for me because it allowed me to look back and revisit some things that were painful and understand how, if I was a better man, if I was a better leader and really prepared to be a husband, how I should have handled that. So as I came out of that process, one thing in there was journaling. So I began journaling, and this was kind of still the early stages of social media, where I began putting out posts on the website as well as on Facebook. And so, I mean, they would get 5 likes, 10 likes, maybe 100 views. And people would, dial in a little bit. So as it died down, I decided maybe social media is not for me. Let me go ahead and put it together in a book. So I began compiling a book, and over around a 3 to 5 year period, as I was navigating some changes professionally, I created a book. That book is not the book that we released, but it was the framework of what is the middle ground. So I then met my wife, and what I realized is some of the theories that I had on paper actually did lend itself and played out as I courted her, because she is what we identify as a modern woman, very successful in her own right, fine, she's a 10 plus. And I knew that in order to get her to agree to be my wife, I had to do the work that I put into practice, the work that I had done in theory, both in therapy and then on paper. So it's really kind of a step-by-step booklet on how to get the great dating outcomes that you want.
I love that so much. I'm like, all right, I'm going to read it. Have the husband read it too.
And in that, Glen,
And it's great.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I was going to say in that book, the feedback has been amazing. People are like, I can read this on a Southwest flight. So it's like, it's not a long 350-page book, 27 chapters, and we created it that way intentionally. Yeah. So it was something that a busy professional would be able to digest in 1 or 2 sittings. And that's what I hope future readers really will come away with that.
I also can love and appreciate that so much. The last probably 3 books that I've read, I actually skipped around in it because I did kind of feel like it was just almost like they added things in there just to make the book long, right? But we could have probably summed it up. So I can appreciate where you went on that 110%. And then, if you don't mind a little bit, Glenn, just diving into a little bit about what some of those skill sets are, if you will, that you wrote down on paper that you were able to implement. Because I think this is so relatable. In another podcast that you were interviewed on that I listened to before having you on here, you were discussing the relationship specifically between in the marriages between entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs. And I found
Hmm.
that to be very interesting. For myself, my husband is my business partner, and I'm very fortunate and blessed in that, because I can imagine that if that was not the case, that when I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm not trying to kissy kissy because I'm trying to email, you know what I'm saying? That things like that would be a little bit frustrating for the spouse, or the nights when I'm just trying to DoorDash, because the truth is I'm not about to be the one to go in there and cook dinner, because I'm trying to catch up on income producing activities and I have a vision that I'm fulfilling. And as entrepreneurs, we stay very inspired towards our mission and what we're building, sometimes to the point that our families and our spouses do feel a little excluded, maybe from what we have going on, or that our time and our energy is going in a way that it could be spent more on them. And I think sometimes
Hmm.
that is a dynamic that can be challenging for some people to navigate. And so that's what finding the middle ground is to you. Is that correct?
Correct. That's what finding the middle ground is all about. It's about coming together and really making a plan or making a deal. I think I talk about alignment a lot when it comes to that specific podcast. If you're a busy entrepreneur, being with someone who's in the education field probably is going to be a challenge just because their schedules don't even align. If you're a lawyer and a lawyer, schedules align. You're both billing hours, you're both in trial, you're both bringing on new clients. So it aligns very well. So I always say that if you're a busy entrepreneur and you're not having the relationship outcomes that you want, the first thing you have to do is stop. Get off the sites, the dating sites, get off of social media, just stop for a second, and then we're going to take kind of an assessment. Who are you? I'm a busy professional who loves and has a great roofing company. I also do a bunch of things related to social media, coaching, et cetera, et cetera. So I love doing that. That serves me. It gives me great energy. I feel energized coming out of it. And I have touched the lives of so many people. When you lead with that, you now know who you are. Then you say, what do I want? I want someone who fits within that lifestyle and that decision to be able to come alongside and support in that endeavor while also being a great partner, a great listener, providing the emotional intelligence required to allow me to feel energized to do that work. Great. Do I qualify for that? Well, yes, I qualify for that. I'm attractive or handsome. I'm fun. I have a great personality. I've done the work to get over the traumas that have hindered me in my past. And now I'm ready to find that person. So then we say, now that we know who you are, what you want, and what you qualify for, we say, since we now identify as a modern woman or a modern man, find a modern man or a modern woman, because with the definitions around what we believe is modern, we say that 50-50 is paramount. We're not going to look for traditional roles. We're not going to look for high value process and high value program management. We're not going to look at a guy and a gal just being together for the fun of it. We're not going to be in an emotionally toxic relationship as a male and a female. We're not going to be a city boy and a city girl living for the streets. So we're going to go out and we're going to make a plan, make a deal, and then we're going to go out and achieve it. That means when we move in together or when we live together, you're going to cook some days. I'm going to cook some days. We're going to DoorDash on Tuesdays. We're going to go out for sushi on Wednesday. We'll cook and meal prep for Thursday so we have great food for the weekend. We're going to work out together in the morning. We're going to work out together in the evening. We're going to go for a hike on Wednesday. We're going to go kayaking once a month. And you just follow the program. And this is very easy to digest for small business owners that are actually successful with their business because it's the same process you deploy, except now you're considering a person and the relationship as the outcome versus the revenue and the services rendered as the desired outcome.
Oh, I do love that so much. I can feel that so deep in my soul. My husband and I have been together for 13 years, and I can tell you, I was not the business owner when I met him, nor was he. So we both evolved and changed and grew a lot together. And through that, the situation changes. What you found to be your fun weekend time or what have you before was no longer the case, right? Weekends became very busy for me being in real estate, and same with the evenings even. So it wasn't that we were gonna be able to cook out with our friends and open a cold one, right? It was more that I was gonna flip open that laptop, and if you wanted to play the movie in the background, great. Just know I'm here in spirit. But I'll be
Yeah, yeah.
honest, that didn't. It was getting to a place where it just wasn't working. He wasn't feeling the love, and the connection and all the things. And I'm so grateful that we were able to come together and have the conversations that we did have. Because I could have lost my husband, the man that I absolutely love and adore, who we've grown with each other so much over the last 13 years, that if he wouldn't have spoken up and I would not have listened, we would not
Hmm.
be in our happy relationship that we're in today, because it got bumpy. But I love how you said finding those things that you do together, right? On Tuesdays, you're doing sushi. On Wednesdays, you're doing this. On this day, you're meal prepping for the week ahead. And it's something that Chris and I found a really great routine with is our us time. And it's not so much, at first I thought that was going to be, we've got to have scheduled dates and we've got to do this and we've got to do that. And the truth is as the CEO of multiple businesses, I've got to be able to ebb and flow with what comes up when it comes up, and then having the spouse that can appreciate and respect that and not make himself or myself feel a certain way when that happens. So it's been really beautiful for us to be able to wake up in the mornings. He literally last night was like, Amanda, hey, in the morning, you gonna hop in your hot tub because I cleaned it out last night. It's like sparkling blue, girl. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. He's like, you want to do yoga together? And he's a weightlifter, which I am too. But just the fact that he's willing to kind of go into a morning routine that I enjoy, and vice versa, I'll hit the gym with him all day long in the moments that are my me time or his me time, and us be able to, and we like to talk. So one person's in the shower, or I'll be doing my makeup, and we're telling stories, and we're brainstorming for the future, and we're talking about the kids, and we're talking about he's a semi-pro dirt bike racer, and so we're talking about his race and how he's going to come in first. We are talking about Kimba's husband this morning, Robbie, and he races diesel trucks, and his new diesel truck, and how he's coming in first this year. And so
Oh,
those
wow.
are the times that we get to come together and spend it more like when we would wait, before we were the CEOs. We'd wait for the evenings and the weekends, right? And
Hmm.
or in the middle of the day, every 10 minutes you call each other, right? Those phone calls don't go down like that anymore. In fact, we joke because we don't talk to each other during the day usually, unless we're picking up a quick text of, hey, wanted to let you know I love you, also shoot me over something that I can do to love you better, right? And I'm like, oh
Hmm.
gosh, husband, you're so great. You're
And
so
see, and that's when you give the title. That's when you give the deference and the respect to the title, because there's intentionality, it sounds like, in the relationship. And that's all we want individuals to believe who come to the middle ground. You don't have to settle for
yeah.
the poor relationship outcomes and the negative, toxic rhetoric that's in the marketplace. Because if you look anywhere else on YouTube outside of this channel, it's telling you you have to be a boss bae or a boss dude in order to be successful.
No.
Wait, don't get a relationship. It's going to be a waste of your time. And we are humans, and by nature, we thrive off and crave the connection with individuals. And specifically, we thrive on the connection with one person because of what you said. You can ebb and flow with your day. And I say seasonality. If
Yeah.
you're in the season of expansion, if you're in the season of growth and development, if you're in a season of contraction, you have someone who understands that and remembers the other seasons. It's such a better way, in my opinion, to live with someone than to be without, because no one wants to be at the mountaintop alone. No one wants to climb a mountain alone. No one wants to build a house on a mountain and go to the house alone. We all want to be with someone. I don't often quote him, but there's a song with Drake where he said his mother said, "Who wants to be 70 and alone?" And I often start with any coaching session and I ask the question, where do you want to be at 65? And tell me where you are today and tell me what your next quarter goal is. Where do you want to be at 65? And if you start there, you find that what we're talking about here, the connection and the intention around that one person, is what people are craving.
I love that. So intention, alignment in our relationships, so beautiful,
So
so powerful. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Glenn. And on that, so book edition 1 is out, but you're sneaking in with the second edition of this series. Is that true?
That is correct. Part two of The Middle Ground: How to Get Great Dating Outcomes in a Modern World will be released on May 20th, 2023. It'll be the second part. And I
Ah,
wanted to spare the audience a 500-page book, so we decided to break it up into three books.
I love that.
I have to just thank you on behalf of the whole world, Glenn, for coming up with this. Well, because it's such a challenge. You know, we live in a world where there's the Tinder and the Facebook. I mean, I've been married for 8 years or something now
Yeah.
too. So I think I got married right before Tinder became a big thing. But there's all these choices out there, right? That are in front of our faces, and there's so many moving pieces, and we live in a world where it's just almost, if that doesn't work, on to the next one, on to the next one. I love this mindset of being intentional with the relationships before you get on the dating app to
Mhm.
identify who you are, what you're looking for, and what you qualify for. I love the way that you put that, Glenn. I will definitely be picking up these books. I'm sure a lot of our readers will be as well. So I'm like, thank you for putting something out there that is so much different than what people are
Thank
consuming
you. Thank
today.
you. I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, and it's such a powerful message. So professionally, Glenn, this is something else I wanted to make sure that we got in while we had your time today. Professionally, you
Mhm.
have spent years, from what I know about you, developing out sales programs, specifically internal
Mhm.
sales programs. And I own a roofing and construction company here in Dallas, Fort Worth, for anybody that this may be your first episode listening to. So, building out sales programs has become my bread and butter. I mean, keeping these salespeople motivated, inspired, keeping leads coming in, and keeping those leads getting closed is my bread and butter, right? So whenever I was listening to you talk about your skill sets professionally and what you're able to come inside of companies and help them build out, that was the second part of the podcast that when I was listening to you speak, that I'm like, this guy is so great and so multifaceted, if you will, with your talent. So if we could kind of like change directions just a little bit and talk a little bit more about building out a sales program, because that there is no company that doesn't need sales, right? Like that
Mhm.
is just
Correct.
absolutely something you have a business. You have to be getting customers coming in. So I wanted to dive into a couple nuggets that you may have as it pertains to building out. I know inside of Amanda's company, she calls them ISAs, right? Inside, what are they?
Sales agents.
Sales
Yeah.
agents,
Agents.
inside sales agents. So do you have some advice, I guess, for lack of a better word? Do you have some advice out there for people that are like, yeah, I'm working on building out a sales program. I need some inside sales agents in my company. Where would anybody start with a
Yeah,
project like that?
I would say the first thing that we you would do is going to be counterintuitive to what you as a business owner would say to your audience. You can't do it. Don't try to build out and manage your own internal sales program. You need to hire someone to do that. So I often say, if you're a company and you do 12.5 million in revenue and you're looking to have a 25 or 20% growth year over year because the addressable market is there, I would say your next hire needs to be an ISA. Your ISA can have a base and commission on net new appointments set for your sales team, and then a comp plan on that is closed as book business. And when you go with that mindset, that ISA starts to get anywhere between a 3 to 10 times ROI. Why does that matter? Because we know when we scale outside sales teams, there's a cost associated with travel and entertainment, there's a cost associated with ramp, and there's a cost associated just with the day to day effort. With an inside salesperson, as an inside sales professional, they can move throughout many different industries. And whether you're in an install, service, recurring revenue model, or a one time product sale, then an inside sales professional is going to fit in one of those 3 to 4 categories. So I would say, first stop, you can't do it. Let's just all agree. And then hire yourself an ISA and let that ISA be strong in inside sales. You teach them your business themselves.
And is there somewhere specific you go to find the strong in inside sales person? Because let me tell you what, that is not an easy task.
It's not. It's not. And I've had the luxury and privilege to have great people over, a 20-year career. And when I pivoted to inside sales, I had to first do the work myself. But I began sourcing through personal and professional relationships. I'm the vice president for the American Association of Inside Sales Professionals, the Tennessee chapter.
Yep.
And so I would tell people, and I'll tag that AAISP.org is the organization. And there are plenty of people that have their profiles up and ready to go who have been inside sales professionals for at least a 5-year period. And if you think
Wow.
about the
I love
previous
that.
5 years, we've had prosperity and growth. We've had COVID, we've had contraction, we've had expansion, we're having contraction again. So there are plenty of individuals that I would start there. The second place it would be LinkedIn. If you're a business owner or a sales leader within your organization, and if you are not on LinkedIn recruiting and LinkedIn sales navigator, shame on you.
Yep.
That pays for itself in one person.
Yep.
So make sure you're on LinkedIn, you're providing regular updates just like you do on Instagram and on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can connect with other like-minded individuals, and those people will begin to find you.
Love it. And do you think, I just love all of your information so much. You can tell just how experienced you are in all of these fields. I'm like, I would love to dive deeper with you, like one-on-one one day, Glenn, because I know that that you are packed full of so much value and knowledge, and I would love to be able to hopefully offer something in return for you too. But do you think that whenever you are hiring an inside sales rep, that it is a safe play to hire them local to where you're at so that training can be one-on-one, the energy, all the things are in person? Or how do you feel about straight virtual?
I've done both. In a COVID world, I was brought on to who is now, I'm employed, everyone on there, to my current employer. I was brought on to build a virtual team because that was the environment in which I was asked to build it. There was no office, there was no one-to-one session opportunities. So I built an entire team on Teams and Zoom.
Oh, I
And that
love
team
that.
scaled from 6 to 60 globally.
Wow.
So I was able to do that. But I've also spent time as I've built inside and outside sales programs for various different clients. It's all been face to face. It's been one-to-one connection. I see the value with both. Let's talk about the former, which is the hybrid or remote work environment. The reason that that's important, and any leader needs to learn how to build a culture and build training programs around that, is the marketplace, the talent pool is demanding it.
Yeah, I do
They
agree.
don't they
I,
do not want to go into an office, no matter how many free snacks, avocado toast, smoothie machines, ping pong tables, 2K and Street Fighter machines you bring. People want the luxury to be able to work from home. There are reasons why.
yes.
But the reasons, we won't litigate here. But the fact of the matter is, there's enough talent in the marketplace that's demanding it that the market has had to shift. So I would say building a culture, and not culture that we talk about on brochures. Building a culture where people feel included, where they feel heard, where they have the opportunity to provide real time, impactful process improvement is going to help out best in a virtual environment.
Oh, I love that so much, Glenn. So Kimba, sister, we've got to start shipping the avocado toast to their house. That's where they want
Yes.
it. They don't want it at our brick and mortar anymore, girl.
I love that. And Glenn, what would your advice be? So I'm sitting here listening to you as the business owner, right? And you're like, Kimba, you can't do it yourself. And I can respect everything about what you just said.
Yeah.
How would I go about? Because I'm big on training our clients on, we don't just hire people and give them a job. We build a job and hire the person that's best for the job, right? We go look for that avatar. So when I'm looking for the person to find an ISA that's going to get in and do some dials, maybe one thing, but to find somebody that's going to come in and lead the the ISA team, to be able to help be that upfront piece to that culture and guiding those people towards growth and towards success. What would your advice be to somebody like me that's like, well, Glenn, what does the build out of that process look like before I make that hire? What do I need to do to prepare for that person to come into my company and be able to be successful in the job that I'm asking them to do?
Okay. I will say, to answer that, which was a great question. Your first and second hire are not going to be people who want to run an inside sales organization typically. They're
Mm-hmm.
people who are bad word, mercenaries for hire.
Sure.
They like working, they like the challenge of scaling up a program. And depending on the season of their life professionally, they may decide to stay 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So your first two hires are going to be the individuals that prove out the theory that an inside sales program will work for your organization. Your third or fourth hire will be the person who can be the start as the player coach, process improve, and then develop people.
Love it.
So you have these are called the three P's that I that anyone that has ever reported to me could know. It is production. What is your job? Production, process improvement, or people. Those are one of your three jobs. So if you get someone who can start as a player coach and they can understand, hey, I need to understand how to produce here. Then they will say, all right, I kind of understand how to produce here, but there are some things that I believe we can do different based off my experience and based on the feedback from the client. So let's make those improvements. And then once you spend time with them, get them into your culture, and you get to know them over a 12 to 18-month period, are they a people leader? Do people gravitate to them? Do they have the ability to inspire growth and development? You learn that as the business owner or as the organizational leader. And then you start to pour into them and get them trained and scaled up from management. And that will simply come. We know that they have production chops. We know that they have process chops. Now let's put them in positions to lead full programs and processes with a couple of people where they are given over authority. And then you move them into a much larger sales role and a leadership role within your organization. It's something that I like to say that's not popular with our generation now. It is earn, not given.
I just love all of that so much. I have one more quick question for you that's going to be kind of a basic question, and it's an important basic question though, okay? And when building out an ISA team, okay, the next piece to that, so I loved all of that. Like, thank you so much for that, because I mean that just helped my mindset even around it to just be able to understand. Because I've built out sales teams, but an inside sales team and building an outside sales team. I build roofing sales teams, right? Roofing and solar sales teams. It is a little bit different. It's a little bit different of the avatar that you're even looking for to come in and be on the phone versus somebody that's out face to face with people. So I love that. So I'm really good at how do we pitch at the door, right? Like that's what I train people at, door knocking. How do we pitch at the door? How do we capture these people's attention for just 30 more seconds at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as an entrepreneur, we can't start with the guy that's going to lead it. We have to bring on a couple agents first, and then we have to mold them into leadership. Mm-hmm. So as I'm developing out these tools that I'm going to hand these ISAs as they come onto my company, I'm like, Glenn, what is your advice for me when it comes to software and a script?
Software and a script?
Yeah.
Great question. I say throw the script out the window on the first two hires. The reason is the script that you're going to provide them will be the door knocking script. So I spent some time door knocking as well. And the beauty of that is door knocking, kiosk, event sales is kind of like the phones.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an email script. So what you're looking for in a personality for an ISA and a potential ISA manager or leader is they got to have some characteristics. They have to be gritty. They have to be coachable, and they have to be adaptable. Because things from an inside sales standpoint can switch quicker than an outside sales. Mm-hmm. So if you want to pivot a program or pivot an effort, if you want to do add upgrades for roofing and solar, if you want to do service plans for solar and inspections for roofing, your inside sales team can get in your CRM. They can start dialing on those people and just do a courtesy or a safety check. Hey, we just want to remind you, hey, we came out about 6 months ago and we did some work on your roof. We just want to see how things are going. They're going great. Well, we also want to let you know that we have some great new solar solutions that are available for clients just like you. Wanted to know, have you considered solar? No. Why not? Well, because, the cost. Well, if cost is an issue, we'd love to have a conversation about some programs we have here in our state for homeowners related to the cost of solar. Not only that, I can give you a couple testimonies on how it's helped lower the energy bills that they're actually able to sell back to the local utility. How does that sound? It actually sounds great. All right. If you're free at 2 o'clock later today, I can get a 15-minute call with Brandon, who's our associate that covers your area. He'd love to just chat a little bit more. That was all off a safety chat.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Glenn. That was super
Like,
great.
all right, Glenn, you're hired.
Like, it's time to do some solar calls. Are you ready?
You're ready to dial. Just give me a list. I need to log into a CRM and I'm ready
There
to
we
go.
go. So your advice for the entrepreneur would be not to provide them with a script.
Yeah, I mean, because what I just provided was very natural and very easy for someone who's a veteran of sales. Remember, your first two hires are going to come in with experience on the phone. They're going to have hit quota 3 of the previous 4 quarters minimum, because they're valuable. They're chasing and looking for new opportunity. And you can't change that in the market. So you just have to adapt to it as the business owner and as an entrepreneur to provide the structure around that. So throw out your script. Your script is going to be an outside sales based script. Let your inside salesperson come in, ask them to take a look at it. They'll give notes, ask them to sit. And then this is empowerment on the first week. All right, go and make a couple of calls to these clients real quick with the script. And then you have them record the calls, because everybody should be recording the calls. Record the calls, and then you play back and listen to them and see where the opportunities are for improvement on the script. And then you can work the script in 5 to 7 business days. And then you have a working script for a 30 to 45-day campaign.
I'm like, all right, we're gonna put your plan to action probably this week, sister, this next week, I bet.
Michael, I love that.
And then give you
so
some
much.
feedback, Glenn. I'll be honest, I've hired 2 or 3 ISAs in the last 6 months already for the Amanda Bell Realty Group, and not to brag, but I'm gonna brag, man. I am one heck of a sales trainer, and I do have the scripts, and I do a pretty great job with the avatar build out, but I have yet for the position. But I've yet had an ISA stick around to see the fruits from the labor. And just hearing you, there's a few what I probably would not have seen without hearing you today. So I'm so grateful for our conversation. Tweaks that I'm going to go back and make that are so simple, that I'm like, man, no one, that 100% would work, right? So I'm so excited for that. And then I'm excited to be able to give you feedback on not just your 2 books. I'll start with the first one because the second one doesn't come out till May 20th, but also this ISA build out. I think that is so beautiful. For the CRMs, do you have any, Glenn? I noticed you said the CRM a couple times, and I felt like that was going to be a big piece. Do you have any CRMs out there that you're like, man, Amanda, if there was one that a real estate agent or a roofer or a business owner in general should at least look into, what one would that be?
Real estate's easy. Boomtown. Boomtown is going to be great because you can also automate your chat feature on your website, the websites for each of your listing partners, if you have that model.
Yeah.
If you're in a small business capacity and you also want to integrate at a lower cost your marketing effort, I would say HubSpot is really good. If you're a mid-size agency where you need to also track deal progress, I would say Zoho CRM is going to be best. And if you're doing 10 million a year in recurring revenue, and then you're looking to capture another, 5.5 per month in new dollars, I would say Salesforce would be the best for you, because Salesforce is going to be the largest repository, and it provides everything that we talked about with the other 3, in addition to giving you the reporting capability and dashboard capability you'd be looking for to track the success of your sales organization.
I love it. I love it so much. We actually just built out a CRM based off of a few of the ones that you had listed out already. So Salesforce, Boomtown, and Zoho, we built out what we call MyVO. So CEOAF owns a CRM platform now for all of our business owners. And what we did was we went and took a lot of those key components that you just listed from those programs. So I'm excited to hear you list those guys, because I'm like, man, that was kind of who we fell back on.
Those features, yeah.
Yep.
When we were building out features, we're like, what if we could take key features from all these CRMs and put them, because for me as an entrepreneur, I'm like, man, I just want to log into one thing. You know what I'm saying? I got all these logins all over the place. So we took some of those really key features and put them together when we were developing out our software that we use with our clients that are needing a CRM. Thank you so much, Glenn. This has been, I've truthfully learned so much, which I did know that I was going to. I woke up this morning very excited for you to come on today, because Amanda and I really are both in that season where we are navigating. For myself, being able to take my outside sales team is crushing it at a high level. And I guess I have one more question for you, Glenn, and then I'll let you go. Is that fair?
Okay.
Can I give you one more thing? Because it
Yeah.
just popped in my brain. What are your thoughts about hiring a third party ISA company to do it for you? And you
I've
provide
done
the
that as
list.
I've done that as well. You have to have direct oversight. So when you hire a third party, you as the entrepreneur, don't give up control and assume everything's going to work out. You
Mm,
have to have a regular call cadence with your account or client success person, as well as your dialers.
okay.
So if whether they're onshore or offshore, you have to have a relationship with them. And most third party companies are okay with that because if you love the person, they always have some type of buyout option for you to hire them full time. So you have to be into the details of any relationship you have with an ISA, whether it's full time hire, part time, contract, or third party outsourcing. I will say the benefits of a third party outsourcing will be probably three things. The first is going to be cost because you're not going to have to pay for the infrastructure. So
Yep.
you're paying for the number of contacts, the number of appointments, and the number of opportunities that would be created.
Hmm.
Second is going to be infrastructure. You don't have to build out the tech stack, the CRM, the dialer. You don't have to worry about any of the regulations related to dialing or call lists. That is all handled by the third party. So your infrastructure is taken care of. And then the third part is it allows you to go be great in your superpower. So if you're kicking butt as a roofer and providing solar in your state, it allows you to focus on those people and allow another expert to provide that oversight. You can then take a 12-month period and learn what you need to learn about the inside sales program with that group. And you never have to worry about resignations within a 3 to 6 month period. That will be handled by that group. So that's kind of the benefit there.
Well, that is absolutely beautiful, Glenn, because I'm going to be honest with you. That's the trigger I pulled last week. So I was like, maybe I made a good move. It sounds like maybe I did. So
You
thank
made
you.
a good move.
So thank you so much for that. All right, Glenn. So I know that you told them, I think we mentioned earlier a little bit on where somebody can find you. But
Mhm.
if somebody wants to follow along with the journey of the book, reach out to you because you're also doing public speaking is something that
Yes.
you just recently got into as well. So if somebody wanted to be able to get a hold of you to book you for public speaking, obviously a plethora of knowledge that you could bring to the table around topics when it comes to speaking engagement. So I think that's really important to tell people where they can find you for that, as well as the books that you have coming out or any other place that they should go follow you for great value and content like this. Where could we send them, Glenn?
Yeah. So if someone's interested from the audience in the book, themiddlegroundbook.com, that is where we house our community of followers who are like minded and believe in getting great relationship outcomes. So www.themiddlegroundbook.com. We're also on what I call the core four of social. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube and TikTok with The Middle Ground Book. Instagram is Middle Ground Book. And the book is available for purchase through our website or through Amazon. It's on Kindle and Audible, Apple Books, Google Play Books as well. If you're interested in anything such as a speaking engagement, there's an option under Book Me on themiddlegroundbook.com, as well as with my personal brand website, glensandifer.com. That's Glen with two N's, Sandifer. But I would love to connect with as many people as possible in this network. It's just been an amazing journey this last year or so, talking to great audiences and great creators and entrepreneurs such as yourselves. So thank you again for that opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Glenn. We appreciate you coming on the Becoming CEO AF podcast today. And for everybody listening out there, do us a favor, go share this episode to your core four. I love that. I'm going to use that, by the way.
Core
Stealing
four.
that. Go share this to all of your core four, right? One of the things Amanda and I are truly passionate about are about bringing guests on that truly add value to the audience. And the truth is, as value is added to us, we like to also allow that value to be shared with other people. So if you got value from the things that Glenn shared today, I know I did, let's go make sure that we're sharing that with our own audiences, our own tribes, our own spheres to make sure that we're part of the ripple effect that never ends when it comes to raising the vibration of the planet. That's truly what we're all here to do. at least in this community, in this tribe, I know in Glen's and inside the CEOAF fam, we definitely believe in being God's volunteers when it comes to adding value, adding love to other people in our community. So do us a favor, do your part in that, hit the share button for us, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.